First contact. The navigation systems of the UES Odyssey flickered with warning signals as Commander Maya Rice stared at the holographic display, her dark eyes reflecting the red emergency lights. 64 days of searching through this uncharted sector had yielded nothing but empty space and depleting resources. The Odyssey, once the pride of Earth's Interstellar Exploration Division, now felt like a floating coffin carrying the weight of a failed mission. Status report, Maya commanded, her voice cutting through the ambient hum of the bridge. Lieutenant Kai Chen, her chief science officer, didn't soften the blow. Resource allocation is critical, Commander. We have approximately 20 days before we must initiate return protocols. Mission parameters have not been met. Maya's family had a 3-generation history with space exploration. Her grandfather had helped establish the first Mars colony. Her mother had pioneered the terraforming techniques used on Europa. Failure wasn't in her DNA. One more sweep, she ordered, fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Full spectrum analysis. If there's anything out here worth finding, I want it located. The bridge crew exchanged glances. They'd performed 14 comprehensive sweeps already, each returning nothing but cosmic background radiation and the occasional asteroid signature. Commander, with respect, Kai began. Initiate quantum resonance scan. Maya interrupted. It was a last resort technology, consuming nearly 30% of their remaining power reserves, potentially compromising critical systems. As the scan initialized, the ship groaned under the strain. Capacitors whined, backup systems flickered, and for a moment, it seemed the scan might tear the Odyssey apart from within. Then something unexpected appeared on the monitor. A signal. Not just any signal, but a perfectly structured communication burst using mathematical sequences that were unmistakably of human origin. The bridge fell silent. Kai's fingers flew across his console, verifying, triangulating. "This is impossible," he whispered. "The signal is coming from Kepler 438c. According to our surveys, it's a barren rock with toxic atmosphere and radiation levels that would kill a human in minutes." "Source confirmation," Maya demanded. "Verified and re-verified," Kai replied, his professional composure barely containing his excitement. "The signal isn't just advanced, Commander. It's revolutionary, using quantum encryption methods theorized but never successfully implemented by Earth scientists." Maya leaned forward, studying the signal pattern. This wasn't just a communication. It was a deliberate invitation, or a warning. "Prepare landing protocols," she ordered. "And Kai, get me everything you can on this signal." As the Odyssey approached Kepler 438c, strange anomalies began appearing in their systems. Subtle navigation adjustments, microscopic changes to their sensor arrays, alterations to their very understanding of the planet. What had appeared as a toxic wasteland from orbit now revealed atmospheric compositions remarkably similar to Earth's. The moment the Odyssey's reconnaissance shuttle breached the planet's upper atmosphere, everything changed. Lieutenant Sophia Diaz's hands moved with practiced precision, but even her legendary piloting skills couldn't counter the swarm of strange objects that suddenly surrounded them. "Incoming," she shouted, her voice cutting through the shuttle's alarm systems. The objects weren't missiles or attack drones. They were something else entirely. Spherical constructs that seemed to phase in and out of physical reality, moving with a precision that suggested intelligence rather than programming. "They're not attacking," Kai observed, his scientific curiosity overriding his fear. "They're scanning us, analyzing our systems in real time." The shuttle's descent continued, guided rather than attacked, as if being shepherded to a specific location. Below them, what had appeared to be barren landscape transformed before their eyes. Massive architectural structures materialized, crystalline towers that seemed to grow directly from the planet's surface, geometric patterns that defied conventional engineering. When they finally touched down, the landing was impossibly smooth. The shuttle's hull began to change, not breaking or cracking, but shifting like liquid metal responding to an unspoken command. Sections became transparent, then translucent. A voice spoke, not through their communication systems, but somehow forming directly in their minds. Visitors. At last, a figure approached the shuttle. Humanoid, but with subtle differences that became more apparent as it drew closer. Slightly taller than the average human, with features that seemed fluid rather than fixed. Its skin had a subtle luminescence, and what appeared to be technological implants weren't external additions, but integrated parts of its biological structure. "I am Ilara," the figure said in perfect English, though its mouth didn't move in sync with the words. "First communicator of Novaterra. We've been expecting Earth to find us, though you are earlier than our models predicted." Maya stepped forward, maintaining professional composure despite her shock. "Commander Maya Rise of the UES Odyssey, we come in peace and—" "Yes," Ilara interrupted with what might have been a smile. "We know exactly who you are. The question is, do you know who we are?" Before Maya could respond, Ilara gestured, and the world around them seemed to shift. The shuttle's interior began to dissolve, not destructively, but transformatively, as streams of what looked like liquid light flowed around them. "Please," Ilara said, "allow me to show you what humanity can become when freed from Earth's limitations." They emerged into a vast open space unlike anything Maya had ever seen. It wasn't a building in any conventional sense. It was a living, breathing ecosystem of technology and organic material that seemed to anticipate their movements. Holographic displays materialized around them, not projected from external sources, but emerging from the very air itself. "Novaterra," Ilara explained as they walked, "founded 127 Earth years ago by the survivors of the Prometheus expedition." Maya exchanged shocked glances with Kai. The Prometheus had been Earth's first attempt at interstellar colonization, a mission presumed lost when all communication ceased shortly after departure. History recorded it as space exploration's greatest tragedy. The Prometheus wasn't lost, Ilara continued, seemingly reading Maya's thoughts. It was liberated. Our ancestors made a choice to sever communication with Earth and forge a new path for humanity. As they moved through the city, Maya began to understand why. Nothing about Novaterra resembled Earth's colonies or stations. The architecture wasn't built. It was grown, structures that seemed to breathe and pulse with life. Citizens moved through these spaces with fluid grace, their bodies subtly different from baseline humans, taller, more proportional, with that same subtle luminescence to their skin. "Your ancestors were genetically modified," Kai said, his scientific mind making connections. The Prometheus was carrying experimental genetic templates, bioengineering specialists. Ilara nodded. "The original colonists were enhanced, yes, but what you see now is the result of generations of directed evolution. We are still human, Commander Rice, but humans who have taken control of our own evolutionary destiny." They were led to what appeared to be a medical facility, though it resembled an art installation more than a clinical environment. A woman approached, her movements suggesting something beyond normal human biomechanics. "This is Dr. Lyra, our chief biological architect," Ilara introduced. "Fascinating," Dr. Lyra said, studying the visitors with eyes that shifted color as she focused. "True baseline humans, we've only seen them in historical records." She reached out, and a swarm of microscopic sensors, visible only as a slight distortion in the air, surrounded Maya and her crew, performing cellular analysis that made Earth's medical scanners look primitive. "Your cellular degradation is significant," Dr. Lyra observed with clinical detachment. "Telomere fragmentation, mitochondrial inefficiency, neural pathway limitations, all typical of unmodified human genetic structures." Maya bristled. "I'm in peak physical condition." "By Earth standards, perhaps," Dr. Lyra responded, not unkindly. "By ours, you're operating at approximately 43% of optimal human potential." The medical scan continued, revealing layers of biological complexity that challenged everything Maya understood about human capability. Their DNA wasn't just being mapped, it was being read and analyzed in real time, displayed on holographic interfaces that showed not just genetic code but future potential. The original Prometheus colonists were designed for survival in harsh environments. Dr. Lyra explained. Enhanced cellular regeneration, radiation resistance, optimized oxygen utilization. But that was just the beginning. She demonstrated by deliberately creating a small cut on her arm. Maya watched in astonishment as the wound didn't just heal, it reconstructed itself at the molecular level, cells reorganizing with visible precision in seconds. "We don't just heal," Dr. Lyra said. "We evolve." Each generation of Novaterrans has built upon the genetic foundations of the last, guided not by random mutation, but by conscious design. Another Novaterran demonstrated the ability to interface directly with their technology through thought alone. No neural implants, no physical connections, just pure mental integration with their systems. "Our brains don't just process information," Ilara explained. "They have evolved to manipulate quantum states directly. What you might call telepathy is simply quantum entanglement between conscious minds." Maya began to understand the profound implications. These weren't just humans who had survived in isolation. They were a glimpse of what human potential could truly become when freed from biological limitations. "This is just the beginning of what we have to show you," Ilara said, reading Maya's expression. "The question is whether Earth is ready to see what humanity can become." As they moved deeper into Novaterra, Maya wasn't sure if they had discovered a lost colony or glimpsed humanity's future, and whether that future was promise or threat remained to be seen. The evolution dilemma. The demonstration chamber defied everything Maya Reyes understood about physics and technology. It wasn't a room in any conventional sense, but a space where reality itself seemed malleable. Dr. Tarek, Novaterra's chief technological architect, moved through the environment with grace that suggested a fundamental connection to the technology around him. "Energy production," Dr. Tarek began, "is where most civilizations fundamentally misunderstand the universe." A holographic representation materialized, not projected but emerging from reality itself, showing a process that violated everything Maya knew about physics. Quantum vacuum fluctuations were being harvested, transforming the background energy of the universe into clean, infinite power. "That's theoretically impossible," Kai muttered, then louder. "The energy required to extract power from quantum vacuum fluctuations would exceed any possible output." Dr. Tarek smiled. "Impossible by your current understanding, perhaps." He gestured to a simple crystalline sphere that began generating power without any recognizable mechanism. No fusion, no matter-antimatter reaction, just pure energy drawn from the fabric of space-time itself. "We don't generate energy," he explained. "We negotiate with fundamental forces. The universe isn't a collection of immutable laws, Commander Reyes. It's a conversation." The medical technologies proved equally revolutionary. They witnessed cellular regeneration that didn't just repair damage, but actively improved upon original designs. Genetic code wasn't just read or written. It was composed, like artists creating masterpieces from the building blocks of life. "Imagine eliminating all disease," Dr. Lyra said, "not through treatment but by fundamentally redesigning human biology to make illness impossible." Their computational systems made Earth's quantum computers look like abacuses, living networks that processed information not through calculations, but through evolution of thought itself. Information wasn't stored or transmitted. It existed in a state of constant becoming. "Your eye attempts to simulate consciousness," Ilara explained as they observed a system that defied conventional understanding. "Ours is consciousness, evolved beyond biological limitations, but maintaining human values and ethics." Transportation technology operated on principles that seemed more like teleportation than conventional movement. Novaterrans didn't travel through space. They negotiated their position within it, effectively rewriting their relationship to spatial dimensions. "Distance is a limitation of perception," Dr. Tarek said, not a fundamental truth of physical reality. The most profound demonstration came when they were shown Nova Terra's governance system, a living network that processed social needs, individual desires, and collective potential in real time. There were no leaders, no voting, no politics as Earth understood them. Governance isn't something we do, Ilara explained as they observed the system. It's something we are. The system doesn't rule people, it understands them at the molecular level. The social implications were staggering. Poverty didn't exist, not as a concept or reality. Resources were distributed through a complex calculation of individual potential and collective well-being. Education wasn't learning but neural integration. Knowledge downloaded and processed through personal experience. We don't have jobs, a young Novaterran named Milo explained when Maya asked about their economy. We have potentials. Each individual is matched with opportunities that maximize their unique capabilities. As evening approached, they were invited to a gathering in what appeared to be a central community space, a breathtaking structure that seemed to float above a valley, its surfaces shifting with subtle patterns that reflected the collective mood of its occupants. Our ancestors made a difficult choice, Ilara said as they shared a meal of food so perfectly engineered it seemed to adjust its taste and nutrition to each individual's needs. To sever ties with Earth wasn't just about survival, it was about potential. Why reveal yourselves now? Maya asked the question that had been troubling her since their arrival. You could have remained hidden. Ilara's expression grew solemn. Earth stands at a crossroads. Your science has reached the point where you can either transcend your limitations or destroy yourselves. We've been monitoring your development, waiting for the right moment to intervene. The word hung in the air, laden with implications. Intervene how? Maya's tone sharpened. By offering a choice, Ilara replied. We can share some of our advancements. Clean energy, medical technologies that could eliminate disease, computational systems to solve your climate crisis. Or we can remain separate entities, allowing Earth to find its own path, however difficult that might be. That's not a choice, Maya countered. It's an ultimatum. No, Ilara corrected gently. An ultimatum implies force. We have no interest in forcing anything upon Earth. But knowledge, once gained, cannot be unknown. If we share what we have become, Earth will never be the same. Some would embrace evolution, others would fear it. Your societies might fracture along new lines, those who wish to transcend biological limitations, and those who believe such transcendence is against nature. Maya understood the dilemma with painful clarity. Novaterra represented a potential future for humanity that was simultaneously miraculous and terrifying. A species taking control of its own evolution, rewriting the fundamental rules of existence. Later that night, unable to sleep, Maya found herself on an observation platform overlooking the city. The structures pulsed with soft bioluminescence, creating patterns that seemed to communicate something just beyond her comprehension. Troubled thoughts. The voice belonged to an elderly Novaterran who introduced himself as Janus, one of the few remaining first-generation colonists. Your society is beautiful, Maya admitted. But I wonder what was lost in your transformation. What makes us human if not our limitations, our struggles? Janus smiled. A philosopher's question. We've debated it for generations. Are we still human? Does it matter? We've preserved what we believe matters most. Creativity, compassion, curiosity, love. The rest, disease, aging, resource scarcity, violence, were limitations to overcome, not defining characteristics to preserve. But the choice to evolve should be personal, Maya argued. What your ancestors did was make a choice for their descendants, Janus finished. Just as your ancestors made choices that shaped your world. Every generation inherits the decisions of those who came before. The question is whether you will make different choices for those who follow you. The following morning, the Odyssey crew gathered to discuss their findings before their scheduled departure. The debate was heated. We can't just bring this technology back to Earth without restrictions, Security Chief Olivia Rahman argued. The military applications alone could destabilize global power structures overnight. But think of the medical implications, Dr. Eliza Mbeki countered. Disease eradication, extended lifespans. We're talking about eliminating human suffering on an unprecedented scale. At what cost? Kai asked quietly. These advancements would fundamentally change what it means to be human. Are we ready for that responsibility? Maya listened to her crew's arguments, weighing each perspective. The decision before her wasn't just about filing a mission report. It was about potentially altering humanity's evolutionary trajectory. When they met with Ilara for their final exchange, Maya had reached her decision. We will report our discovery, she told the first communicator, but we'll recommend a gradual, controlled exchange of knowledge, starting with technologies that address Earth's most pressing crises without forcing immediate evolutionary change. Ilara seemed to have expected this middle path. A wise approach. Revolution often fails. Evolution endures. We will prepare a delegation to establish formal contact with Earth's governing bodies. As the Odyssey prepared for departure, Ilara presented Maya with a small crystalline device. A gift, she explained. It contains medical templates that will extend your crew's lifespans by approximately 30 Earth years. Enough time to see this new relationship between our peoples take shape, but not so advanced as to cause alarm. And if Earth rejects your offer? Maya asked, voicing her deepest fear. If fear overcomes curiosity, then we will wait, Ilara replied simply. We have evolved patience along with everything else. Humanity will find its way, Commander Reyes, whether through your path or ours. The question has never been if we will evolve, only how and when. As the Odyssey lifted from Novaterra's surface, Maya watched the shimmering city recede beneath them. They had set out to discover something extraordinary in the vastness of space, never imagining they would find humanity's potential future waiting for them on a supposedly barren world. The mission had begun as a search for resources, for new frontiers to exploit. It was ending as something far more profound, a mirror held up to humanity's face, showing not just what they were, but what they might become. Set course for Earth, Maya ordered, her voice steady despite the weight of the knowledge they carried. We have quite a story to tell. The Odyssey turned toward home, bearing news that would forever change humanity's understanding of its place in the universe and its potential future among the stars.